We're going to start with the overview today, and we'll see how far we get. Maybe we'll get lucky and Zoom will give us some extra time like they did last time for the prayer meeting. So, just like Numbers, the name of the book is based on a Hebrew name. And it's based on Deuteronomy verse 1, chapter 1. These are the words. So, and really that's what the whole book, well, most of the book of Deuteronomy is. These are the words that Moses spoke to the gathered second generation of Hebrews. Because we know the first generation was wiped out. They died because they were so disobedient. They kept saying to Moses and to God, why did you bring us out of Egypt to die? So God said, okay, you said I brought you out of Egypt to die. That's what's going to happen. And that's what happened. So Moses used this book to recount a lot of the events. And what we'll see as we go through the class, I'll reference a lot of the prior books of the Old Testament, either Exodus or Numbers, so we can tie back into what Moses was referencing. A lot of the things we see in Deuteronomy won't be new. They'll be rehashed of old events. Sometimes they'll give us some extra information, and sometimes they won't. Let's see. Oh, here's Wilbur coming in. So I'll bring Wilbur in.
Yeah, Jim, as I'm looking at the Deuteronomy, it's like all the journeys. Oh, Melba says she's unable to get into the meeting.
All right, so
Check email.
well, I'll send her another email. Hi, Wilbur. So I think what I'll do, it appears that I can't start up a meeting from a calendar event. So I think what I'll do every Wednesday night is just open up the class and then send emails to people. And then you can join that way. So let me just, I'm gonna give Christy the overview notes. She start going over them, and I'll invite Melba. Now, your mic is on because I can hear you, so we're good. Okay.
So what do you want me to do?
Oh, just start anywhere. No.
Yeah.
He's connecting to the audio, so he's probably running a test now.
We'll just wait.
No, go ahead. Just start. Here, because what let's see here. And just go right from the start, hon. Author and date of writing.
Okay. The author and date of writing. The book itself ascribes most of its contents to Moses. For that reason, what's the OT?
Old Testament.
Old Testament elsewhere ascribes the bulk of Deuteronomy and the other
Pentateuch.
What's a Pentateuch?
Well, a penta is 5.
Right.
So the Pentateuch is the first 5 books of the Bible.
Oh. Legislation to Moses. Similarly, Jesus attributes Deuteronomy to Moses. Peter attributes Deuteronomy to Moses. And see Stephen, the notes, and Paul. Okay. There's a lot in Deuteronomy.
Yeah, so keep going, keep reading.
Oh, okay. At the same time, it seems clear that the narrative framework within which the Mosaic material is placed. And in the conclusion, see blah, 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 blah. All these, I don't know what these are. Sorry.
Okay, I'm back.
Wilbur has his mic off.
Okay.
I see.
And camera off. So Wilbur, go to the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and you'll see a picture of a microphone and a picture of a camera. So click those on, and then we'll be able to hear you and see you. Okay, so Deuteronomy, let's see. So Moses is they're just about to cross the Jordan as we get into Deuteronomy. And Moses, what we're going to see here is in the first couple chapters, he's going to start restating the commandments to the people. Because even though they've heard it and they've known it, Moses wants to make sure that they understand that they're crossing into the promised land and they must obey God's commandments. If they don't, things aren't going to go well for them. Okay, I hear Wilbur.
I see Wilbur's name.
Yep. Okay. Okay, but can you hear us?
Perfect,
Okay,
that's
all right.
fine.
So
We look the same, Wilbur.
we won't be able to we won't be able to see your beautiful face though. So we'll have to figure out something there. So let's see where else we at. Theological teaching and purpose. So
Donna Mungers is on. Donna Joe.
yep.
Her mic's off as well.
All right. So Donna, if you have a iPad, we're not really sure how we can help you, but if you have a computer,
Turn her mic off so we could hear her.
go to the lower left-hand corner and turn your mic on. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we hear you.
Hi, Donna Joe. It's Christy. Oh, okay. Melba's trying to get on.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do is, I think I'm going to have to start up the meeting and then send invitations from the meeting because it doesn't appear that the calendar link is working. We had the same problem last Thursday for the prayer meeting. So what we're going to find in Deuteronomy, we're just going through the overview, there's a couple different sections, main sections. First main section, of course, is the Ten Commandments. As I said when we first started, Moses is going to go over the Ten Commandments again before the Israelites cross the Jordan into the Promised Land. Because they have to know that if they don't follow God's commandments, God is going to chase them out. He's going to allow other people to come in, take them over, and disperse them to other countries. We're going to see that in chapters 4, 5, well, chapter 4. So, main section number 1 is the Ten Commandments. He tells them how it happened, how they got the Ten Commandments, and what they're all about. The next, in chapter 6, is the Shema, S-H-E-M-A. And that's a prayer that devout Jews say 3 times a day. And as we go over that prayer, you'll see how important it is and how it talks about how we are to always share our religion and always teach our children religion also. Not only Judaism, but of course Christianity. And the Israelites, early Israelites, were so good at teaching religion because they incorporated it in their life. Every day, it's something they did every day. They prayed every day. They worshiped God in everything they did. So it just became part of their life, and that's why it was so central to their livelihood. The third portion is called the Shirat Hazinu, and it's a poetic song from Moses, in which Moses tells the people to remain faithful to God and admonishes them for not doing so. And that's going to be in Deuteronomy 32. And then Moses' blessing in Deuteronomy 33. That's when Moses dies. God just says, okay, Moses, your time is up. It's time to let Joshua lead, because God picked out Joshua, and then Joshua takes over.
How old was Moses again when he died?
Oh, we're going to have to find out.
Okay.
And we will.
Okay.
It's probably here somewhere. I'll have to check. Where else? Okay, the overview. Chapters 1 through 4, Moses reviews some of the details of their past history to bring us up to date, but of course all the people know. Chapters 5 through 28, Moses recites all the 10 commandments to the Israelites, explains the principles and instructions for living a godly life as God's chosen nation, how to love God, how to perform worship, laws regarding relationships like divorce, and also the consequences and penalties if the laws are broken. And then chapters 29 and 30, the entire nation commits themselves to stand apart for God. Not only knowing the laws, but actually acting like God's people. And then chapters 31 through 34, the change in leadership in Israel, where Moses steps down and Joshua takes over. All right. So Deuteronomy chapter 1. So as you guys went through Deuteronomy, is there anything that stood out in the first couple chapters? Yep. Right. And I think it's in chapter 4 where Moses blames the Israelites. He says, I'm not allowed to go into the promised land because of you people. But if we remember, Moses needs to take some responsibility because God told Moses to bring water out of the rock. All he has to do is just say that the water should come out of the rock. But Moses took his staff, hit the rock twice, and said, you awful people, do I have to bring water out of the rock to you? And then God immediately says, well, okay, that's the reason why you're not going. So Moses should take some responsibility for this, and he doesn't. But yeah, he did all that work, but that one mistake caused him not to go into the promised land. So praise God for Jesus, so that when we make our mistakes, our multiple mistakes, it doesn't keep us out of the promised land. So very good point, Gene. But Moses has to take responsibility. I know. Yeah, how about it?
Yes.
For 40 years with those people? Come on. That would be awful. That would be awful. So as we start Deuteronomy 1, we see verse 2. It takes 11 days to go from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the Mount Seir road. So 11 days it should have taken them for that 40-year journey. Except they were so disobedient that God knew that he couldn't let them into the promised land because they weren't ready. So Moses in Deuteronomy, he summarizes the last 40 years for the second generation of Israelites, because the only group left from the people that left Egypt are Moses, Caleb, and Joshua. So it took them 40 years to go 11 days travel. Just crazy. So let's see, Deuteronomy 3. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month. So one thing that the Bible does is it always gives us specifics so we know exactly how long things take and where events happen. So in verse 3 it tells us in the 40th year on the first day of the 11th month. And some commentaries believe that the entire book of Deuteronomy covers just 1 week or 2 weeks. So a lot is happening
Wow.
Yeah, in these 2 weeks. Let's see here. Moses proclaimed to the Israelites all that the Lord had commanded him concerning them. And this was after he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites. Now the Amorites, that's like a generic term for anybody who was from the western lands. And these people usually lived in the mountains where the Canaanites settled when they were kicked out. In Joshua chapter 13, verses 3 through 4, we hear from the Sihor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron in the north, all of it is counted as Canaanite, though held by the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, the territory of the Evites to the south, all the land of the Canaanites. So that's like a generic term pretty much for all the enemies of the Jewish people. So whenever we see Amorites, Canaanites, those are all the bad guys.
Is Melba trying to get on?
Oh, yes, she is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so Melba's coming on.
Hi, Melba. Wherever she is.
Yep, you see her popping up in the lower corner?
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Okay, let's see here. Verse 5. East of the Jordan in the territory of Moab, Moses began to expound this law. Now, use of that word, expound, is unusual in Hebrew. And what it means is that Moses was amplifying what God said. Like I said when we first started the class, the first part of Deuteronomy, Moses is going to go through the 10 Commandments, and he's really going to try to push it through to these people so that they understand how critical it is that they're obedient to God. Let's see. The Lord our God said to us at Horeb. The phrase Lord our God appears at least 276 times in Deuteronomy. Once again, Moses is trying to drill down to these people that we no longer have multiple gods. We no longer worship little idols. We worship one God. The God who got us out of Israel, the God who's given us all our blessings, the Lord is our God. So he keeps saying it over and over again, just to kind of push it through to them.
She's trying to get her video.
Okay.
Tell her.
Did you text her that it's in the lower left-hand corner?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Okay, we'll get this worked out here.
This is all new to a lot of people, including me.
Me too.
I don't know how to do it.
Usually I just sit on the other end and listen and talk and...
She didn't put anything on yet, right?
What do you mean?
You want her to click the video camera?
Right, yes. In the lower left-hand corner.
Okay.
Because I see her still as being muted with her microphone and video.
Oh, hi, Melba. Click your lower. We just need your picture. Oh. Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. In verses 6 through 8, let's see here. The Lord our God said to us at Horeb, "You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Break camp and advance into the hill country of the Amorites. Go to all the neighboring peoples in the Arabah, in the mountains, in the western foothills, in the Negev, and along the coast, to the land of the Canaanites, and to Lebanon as far as the great rivers, to the Euphrates. See, I have given you all this land." So what Moses does is he doesn't start the history of the people in Egypt. He wants to start the history of the people at Mount Sinai, because that's where they actually became a nation. While they were in Egypt, they were just a bunch of slaves. And if we think back to Exodus, we found out that the term Hebrew not only referred to the Israelites and the Jewish people, it meant any lower class. So the Egyptians would call say, people from Africa. They would call the Jewish people, they would call anybody lower than them Hebrews. So when they were in Egypt, they were just a bunch of mixed up people. But once they got to Sinai and they got the laws of the Ten Commandments, that's when they started to become a nation. And that's where Moses starts their history, when they took off from Mount Horeb. Okay. Let's see. Appointment of the leaders in verse 9. At that time I said to you, you are too heavy a burden for me to carry alone. So remember, this is when they got the 70 leaders. Let's see. Oh, this kind of confused me because back in Numbers chapter 11 verses 10 through 15, Moses actually directed this question to God. And he said at that time, these people that you gave me are too heavy a burden to me. So I was kind of confused on why Moses is saying to the people, I said this to you. But unfortunately, I can't find any commentary that would clarify why Moses changed from speaking to God to posing this question to the people. So that seemed kind of strange to me. Let's see.
Melba says she's getting a lot of feedback when everyone is talking. I told her some earbuds. Is that?
That could help, yeah.
Okay, what else could help?
What we could do is...
Oh, hi!
No, what we could do is everybody could mute their mics until they have something to say, and then when they have something to say, unmute your mic. Let's try that. Okay, so everybody mute your mic. Okay. Well, let's give it a try. So, Christy, mute your mic.
It is.
No, it's not.
Mute.
There you go. See, because I have the control board, so I know what you're doing. So don't tell me you're not talking. Okay, good. All right.
I think because Jim and I are across from each other, that could be an issue. So I should move.
Where are you gonna go?
The living room.
Oh, okay.
See ya. I'm gonna go.
So this isn't like she's been dismissed. She's going to sit in the comfy chair.
I am.
So this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing.
Well, because I'm throwing you off.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, where did we leave off?
Okay. All right. Oh, that's better. Okay. Is that better now, Wilbur?
Okay, so, well, your mic is still muted. Well, now it's not muted. Okay, anyway, if anybody's experiencing problems, just let us know and we'll try things to fix
I
it.
think it was me, hon, because I was too close to you.
That could be.
Okay.
That could be.
All right. I'm far away now. Go.
Okay. And yeah, this whole section really didn't tie into Numbers chapter 11, so it's all very confusing because in Numbers 11 it was a conversation between God and Moses, and now it appears to be a conversation